So everybody knows about Dianne Feinstein's assault weapons ban. Now this woman has dementia. If you remember a couple weeks ago, they were trying to push her out of the way because she's so out of her damn gourd. The assault weapons ban. This is the product of the person that is willing to look at anyone else and say you don't have the right. That's what this is the product of. This is the end of it. That if people don't understand that it multiplies over time. If I point the finger and say, well, that person don't have the right, or that person should be able to, or we need to create a law for this, then the next person adds theirs to it, the next person adds what they think to it, the next person adds what they think to it. In the end, nobody has shit. So that's where you're at. If you're one of those people that support any infringements, you caused this. I don't care what you say. If you support the police, you caused this. That's a fact, because you support the people that would enforce this shit, right? And it's mind-blowing. And here's the thing, you can't stop it. Even without it being about the right to keep and bear arms, it is still unconstitutional because the federal government doesn't have the jurisdiction to create these laws. But you can't stop it. It's over. Everything they push will go through. Everything that goes through, they will enforce. And everything they enforce, your governors will allow them to enforce within your state. So what you need to be doing is on the phone with your governors. I didn't agree with TC from Truth, Freedom, Money podcast, or Truth, Money, Freedom podcast. I always get it mixed up. Truth, Freedom, Money podcast, yes. About the Second Amendment Preservation Act in Missouri. I didn't agree with it. I don't agree with it to the extent that it's government giving permission. There's no teeth behind it. It doesn't arrest federal agents for being within the state, which they plan on adding to it down the road, but that doesn't mean it's going to get added to it. Now you have all these other states doing the same thing. It's simple. Call your governor. All your governor has to do is make a call to the White House and say, hey, if I catch your boys in our borders, we're going to have problems. Tell them they will not act under the color of law in this state, or they will be arrested and treated as what they are, domestic terrorists. So that's where we need to be at. The only way we can do this to the point that it will matter is if we are in the same state, because we're the only ones that are going to be doing it. What state is that? I don't know. Missouri looks good. Tennessee, possibly. Even Wisconsin or Minnesota, I don't know. I know people have their issues with those states, but you got to get away from the cities. But that's where we need to be at. If we were all in the same state, if there was 400,000 people in the same state calling the governor saying, hey, do not allow the federal government in our state to do anything, maybe they would represent us. As of now, they're not. So that is the problem. If you think that any of this shit is going to be stopped in the Senate, you're high. You've definitely smoked too much ganja. Quit smoking that shit. They made it legal for a reason, and it wasn't to benefit you. And on the same topic, if you get a medical marijuana card, you are automatically put under federal disability. Yes, meaning you can't buy, sell, own, or otherwise possess firearms. So don't do that. It's a scam. You're being scammed, people. We all are. But let's get to the same place at the same time, make similar phone calls, demand the same from our quote-unquote representatives and our elected officials, and that's it. At some point, this right here is the shining example of the Civil War and what happened there. It was states' rights. That's what it was about. It was the federal government stepping in saying, you cannot do this, when the federal government didn't have the jurisdiction or authority to do that. The federal government does not have authority over the states. Period. No matter what you've been told. Look at the factual evidence in the documents. The federal government doesn't have power over the states. The reason we have the Bill of Rights, what led to it was Virginia, mainly North Carolina, were worried that the new Constitution at the time, 1787, would give the federal government too much power, and the federal government would eventually rule over the states. That's what led to the Bill of Rights. The very thing we're seeing happening today. And what's happening today is why they were worried about it. It's dangerous. It makes you a slave. And since they did away with the 13th Amendment, I will put a link down here to somebody that I don't agree with everything he says. He's still caught in the paradigm of the left versus right, but he can show you some factual evidence that the original 13th Amendment was removed for reasons for you to figure out. Have a good day.